Our lead this hour coming from the Rocky Mountains. We're going to start there. A new coach was introduced. We'll get to the Super Bowl hyperbole later on. But the Broncos, who have been irrelevant for a good amount of time now in terms of any kind of postseason relevance, they don't have that. It has been a revolving door. It's like a bus terminal there at the coaching position. And on Monday, Fun Day, the Broncos welcomed in their newest savior, their sideline messiah, who's going to lead them out of the clouds, the fog, and back to the promised land. Sean Payton. We told him not to do it. He didn't listen to us. Sean Payton was introduced as the new head coach in Denver. Some pointing out the carpetbagger nature of Sean Payton arriving in Colorado. But we did get a viral moment from this little get-together, which is all we really care about. Now, I don't know if you saw this or not. Maybe not. You might have seen a headline if you were perusing the social networks. But maybe you didn't even do that. You just listened to the radio, which we love. God bless you. So during the Q&A portion, a reporter, we're not sure who, a random reporter asked Sean Payton about his policy on personal coaches for players being allowed into the building. This question about Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. He answered the question. He started out rather calmly, and then he elaborated further. Let's go to the audio tape, as Warner Wolf would say.
Russell Wilson had a personal coach in the building with access who wasn't on the staff.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that.
How do you feel about players having their own people off the staff in the building, access to players?
Yeah, that's foreign to me. That's not going to take place here. I mean, I'm unfamiliar with it, but our staff will be here, our players will be here, and that'll be it.
All right, so if you can make that, there's a lot of ambient noise in the background, but he said at the beginning, he says, I'm not too familiar with that. That was the opening statement. He says, foreign to me, that's not going to take place here. He said, I'm unfamiliar with it, was the quote. Our staff will be here, our players will be here, and that will be it, close quote. So let us discuss the question. Sean Payton giving Russell Wilson's team of hanger-ons the boot. How is this going to play out? How is this playing out? So I've got guilty as charged, Rustwater, and whatchamacallit. And we will lock all of these things together, and we are going to build a plate of Rocky Mountain oysters, which are absolutely disgusting, but it's a local delicacy. I've had them before. I lost a bet on the Nuggets a number of years ago, and they taste absolutely horrible. So, number one. Sean Payton has received universal praise for the soundbite that we just played, for that response. The "that's foreign to me" response. He's been celebrated, taking, if you will, some of the lyrics out of an old 1917 song, You're in the Army Now. Like, hey, it's different now, Russ. Russell Wilson, you're in the Army now, Mr. Unlimited. Things are going to be much different. There's a grown-up in the room and all that mumbo-jumbo. Now, my take on this is a little different. And I played this clip several times, and I watched the video, which you can't see because we're on radio here. And I couldn't help but think Sean Payton is guilty as charged of self-incrimination on this particular soundbite, even though he's being praised for it, which I find odd. And let me explain why. When he said, I'm unfamiliar with it, when asked about personal coaches, he unintentionally exposed himself, Sean Payton, for malfeasance on the Broncos situation. To me, that's a tell that he's uneducated about what's been going on in Denver with Russell Wilson. And that is a bad sign for the Broncos. That is a bad sign for the Denver Broncos. And now all of a sudden, it's, well, it's going to stop now and all that stuff. How is it that as an overnight gas bag and blowhard, I am aware that Russell Wilson was given preferred treatment and had his own people hanging out at the facility, and the coach of the Broncos seemed to be blindsided when asked about that? And Sean Payton, we were told, did copious amounts of research when he was applying for these different jobs. He studied everything before deciding to do the altitude tango. And the Broncos did not exactly hide the fact that Russ was being given the keys to the kingdom in the Mile High City. Nathaniel Hackett had no business being a coach. He let him do whatever he wanted. He's a joke, Nathaniel Hackett, but we all knew that. It was on the public record. Russell Wilson brought along his personal quarterback coach, this guy Jake Heaps, who he met in Seattle, who had been a fringe NFL guy and became a quarterback coach and took him to Denver. He was allowed to have carte blanche in the facility during training camp under Hackett. And I knew it, and it was readily available. It wasn't like a secret. Wilson had his own office and pretty much did whatever the hell he wanted. And yet, Sean Payton seemed to be completely caught out in Never Never Land by this information. So the verdict on this, while everyone's praising Sean Payton for that response, my response is, wait a minute. Now, you took the Denver job without doing opposition research? You got the bag, right? You got paid? And now you're going to figure things out? That doesn't bode well. All right, now, page 2. So the Russell Wilson posse commentary aside, I had a chance to watch the opening salvo of the Sean Payton era in Colorado, and the biggest takeaway. What is the biggest takeaway here from Sean Payton's introductory press conference? So other than the snafu with the Russ commentary, Sean Payton was, as you would expect, polished outside of that. This is not his first circus. He has been under the big top for many, many years, and it's obviously not for the squeamish or faint of heart. And step right up. Come on. Come on. Come on. Fun for all ages under the Sean Payton big top. You've got acrobats over there, and then clowns in the back over here. You've got some dancing bears in the middle there. And these introductory coaching news conferences are so carefully crafted, so manufactured. And I realize I've been doing this a long time, and I see these things and how they've turned into these ridiculous events. Every once in a while, you get something goofy like Crazy Eyes, Adam Gase, the coach of the Jets, or you get a Jim Tom Sula who's completely in over his head, and you enjoy those because everything else is just completely manufactured. These things have turned to a trip into the fictional town of Rustwater, Kansas. And that was a scene from a movie, and every coach hired is playing the Steve Martin character in that old movie, The Leap of Faith. Sean Payton is the preacher. He's holding the pep rally. It is a franchise revival. They're going to wake the Broncos up from the dead. These are real miracles, sensibly priced, as Sean Payton milking money out of the Walmart owners there, $18 million a year. And he's going to bring his magic wand to Colorado. All right, final point. So let's get down to business. Can the new Bronco head coach, Sean Payton, abracadabra, hocus pocus, poof, fix Russell Wilson? So can Sean Payton fix Russell Wilson? Sure, absolutely. Will he? To quote the great Larry David, I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff, never. I'll pinky promise you, as a jaded realist here, Russell Wilson is getting older. He is more entitled than ever. He is far removed from his nanobubble days in Seattle. And Russ has lost the whatchamacallit that he had, and now Sean Payton has been deputized here, and he's on the goose chase to find the thingamabob that Russell Wilson lost, and this will be a story that is going to ferment in our world all the way into the training camp period, the offseason workouts, and there'll be reports, Russ looks great, he's never looked better in a Bronco uniform, and those kind of reports, and then people say, oh, he's back, and then you really won't know until the games start. Who cares how somebody looks in a training camp practice? But this will be Sean Payton's pet project, his big adventure. And we are of the mindset that seeing is believing. We anticipate the pendulum shifting to a power running game in Denver that will be the focus, and the Broncos will use Russell Wilson as the old caretaker, which is a demotion, especially when you consider the amount of finances the Broncos are giving Russell Wilson. But they will play the hide the quarterback in plain sight offensive game plan. One of my favorites, very safe, a lot of dump-off passes, short passes, rudimentary offense, and good luck. You can win some regular season games like that, but good luck beating the better teams running that style of attack. It is not something that has a lot of ground, firm ground to stand on, but that's what they're going to do.